Hey, hey, hello, and welcome. Congratulations, Hack, on being first. Thank you so much for staying up just to watch this. Thank you. And hello, Diamond Cat on YouTube as well. Hey, 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 hey. Slamran is here. He made it as well. He is up to date. No. He might have been first, but not officially. And Final Smile is also here. Hello. Welcome, welcome. Oh, don't be sad. Now you know. Welcome, everyone. I'm so happy to hear that people liked A Soldier's Life. I was sad since I was holding. No, I wasn't sad. I was scared that since I've been waiting for it and known about it for a month, that I was like, I'm scared that it's like, okay, now I'm excited for it, and then I didn't want to say it too early. Be like, it's A Soldier's Life, because I didn't want to hear like, oh no, and then I had to wait to be like, oh, people would like this. So I'm so happy that people are like, what, really? Yay. So, and I sent the author an email yesterday to be like, here's the link. Please enjoy. Please let us continue. And withheld the rant. Damn. Oh, well, perfect. Very nice, very nice. I really like it so far as well. Hello. I really like it. We read 4 chapters yesterday. But yeah, I sent it off to the author. Obviously, I don't know how often do people check their emails? I don't know. That was just the last place we talked. But I was like, maybe I should message him on Royal Road as well. But I don't want to be like, oh, spamming him. I'm like, it's been a month, but I want, like, it's not like watch my video. It's for his sake that I want him to watch my video. So I'm like, eh. So I was like, please. But I haven't gotten a response. But then it's like, um, time zone difference. I know that he's in North America somewhere. So I was like, I'll give it a weekend. And if he doesn't respond, I will send him a message on Royal Road as well and be like, hello? Hello, tag. Oh, and it's been so long that I've read it, so the recap is an actual recap. Oh, damn. I sent him a message on Patreon saying thank you. Did you actually? That's insane. Amazing. But yeah, cause I was like, I don't want to spam him, but I was like, he wanted to know, like he said in his own words, he was like, fuck it. Let's see how it goes. And then he's like, you get permission to do book one. And I was like, but if I, yeah. Like, I know he's made more novels as well. Is this his biggest one or is it just one of them? Because I listened to an interview with him and then he was like that he had like 14 novels already done, but he hadn't published them. And then he like started and then he just let the comments say which one they like and then he continued. He's remaking a novel. Yeah, because the one that he sent to me, this third edition, he said that it has been edited by editors, and he's like, I haven't even looked through it at the start or something. So he was like, I hope that it reads nicer. And I was like, so far, yes, it reads nice. But okay, yeah, I just saw that he had a few. I was like, damn, okay. But I think A Soldier's Life has like, what, 6 books or some shit? It's long. So I was like, damn. Well, that's also why I kind of panicked because I realized yesterday, because I thought this was going to take a long time. Right? Just to make one book. So it's like, I can give him time to reply, you know? Of course, I'll give him time. But then yesterday it's like, okay, this PDF is 400 pages and we're already on 47. So I'm like, um, it went quicker than I thought. So I just hope that he's cool with it, that we can get access to more than book one. Otherwise, it's on the grind for me again to start reaching out to authors once again. But I did have some suggestions in the Discord that I followed and will ask it because it kind of depends on what he responds, you know. We will see. I'm just happy, honestly, that I got permission to do book one, even. So I'm like, I'm happy, you know? But okay, from here, we will do our script reading and then we will read more chapters. How many? I don't know. How many it takes to take up a 2 hour session. Yes, it's reading time. Oh, Monkey Egg, hello! I just caught up to growing lilies VODs and was like, yay, I can finally watch live again. And we'll start a new novel right at that moment. Yes, it wasn't for me. And I feel like that was pretty obvious. So I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm stopping. But now you're caught up. Or no, because you probably have to let solid attempt. Yeah, yes. Yes, all little attempts. Yeah, I'm sorry that I started that and just dropped it, but it's like it didn't feel right. Yeah, I'm sorry. But we have the weekend off. So we will see. I'm sorry. Sorry, but not sorry, because I'm happier with this. Okay. Script reading time after a yawn. Time to watch the VOD. Hell yeah. Last time on A Soldier's Life, we met 25-year-old Eric, who got teleported into a new reality where he gets accused of crimes that he, more or less, didn't commit. He gets told that he can become a legionnaire and pay off his crimes. Eric agrees and gets introduced to his new surroundings where magic is a fact. He meets a healer named Damien and a skilled woman named Helena that he befriends. He gets trained and evaluated in combat and tries to learn magic on his own. As time passes, Eric improves and does pretty well for himself. He even finds out that he might have a bright future as a mage, but he doesn't tell anyone about it. Not even Damien. Not even Damien, you understand? Damien, my love. The fisherman and everything. Right? Damien, my beloved. It's like more, yeah, it's like a lot of things have happened. But it's pretty simple, straightforward so far. Now I just have to fix my windows so that I can see everything. And once again, I'm sorry that the fucking text was cut off last time. Also, no one told me. No, but I'm not gonna blame anyone but myself. My bad. I didn't know because I was like, I was in OBS and then I was on the first page only because I was like, why would the other pages be different? Oh, fuck me. The other pages were different. I'm like, huh. So, but now I fixed it. So no text should be cut off. It fucking better not be at least, or I will get pissy. I think it's better to do this for my well-being. No, it wasn't. No, I thought really because okay. Otherwise, I misunderstood. I thought we were only talking about that people wanted the background to be dark and not white flashbang, and I said I can't fix it. I never realized if anyone mentioned that and I completely ignored it. I'm sorry. That's not what I caught. But okay. But now all the text should be usable. If not, please let me know so I can fix it immediately. But it should be fine. Oh, I see Damien. I see his name. We can just listen. You can. You can. That's correct. Okay. Chapter 5 Secret Space. As my training progressed with Damien, I missed spending my evenings with the ever quiet Helena and the extra staff practice. Helena was rough around the edges, but as I felt more and more comfortable in my new world, the scarred and muscular woman was looking better and better to me, Oh, damn it. Oh, wow. Okay, we're starting off strong today. Then again, she was the only woman I got to see on a regular basis. Wow. I met with Damien almost every evening as he guided me on the principles of learning a spell and imprinting a spell form. But he still meets Damien every day and evening, even. He knew I could not learn the dimensional pocket as a spell, but instead utilized my innate ability to imprint a simple spell form on my core to create the pocket space. He assured me that I could eventually create the spell form, as long as my affinity score was over 10. Some people just took longer than others to manifest it. Very few people could learn the intricacies of memorizing and casting spells. It took a high skill in ether shaping and memorization of the complex spell forms. It was also going to be a few weeks before a copy of the spell forms could be transported from the Mage College to help guide my visualization. He assured me he had sent a request, and it would arrive. Damien was a patient teacher, but he seemed very bored in his assignment as a healer to the training legion. His assistance was invaluable, as at my next texting. Not texting. His assistance was invaluable, as at my next testing, I had substantial gains in my magical development. My gains were so significant that the 4th Centurion was informed, and he called me before him. Oh. Okay. I also don't know if I should read like physical strength +1, or if I should just say strength 45 out of 79, because I feel like I don't know. I feel like the other one matters more, but last time it was like +1, +2, +1. It's like, maybe I should just do the other, because I can't be asked to do both. I'll do the other way around this time. I think. Maybe? I don't know. Fuck. Yeah, well, fuck it. And then I have to go down here as well. Physical strength 45 out of 79, power 42 out of 82, quickness 27 out of 49, dexterity 27 out of 56, endurance 56 out of 87, constitution 36 out of 65, coordination 37 out of 61, mental intellect 28 out of 54, reasoning 42 out of 59, perception 52 at 60, insight 30 out of 49, resilience. I can't do this. I'm dying. I'll do it the other way. I can't. I'll do it like I did before. It was way easier and it takes so much less time. You can look at it yourself. Let's redo it. Physical strength +1, power +2, quickness +1, dexterity +2, endurance the same, constitution +2, coordination +2, mental intellect +2, reasoning +2, perception the same, insight +2, resilience +1, empathy the same, fortitude +1. Magical ether pool +2, channeling also +2, ether shaping also +2, that's 6 out of 8, that's soon full. Ether tolerance +1, ether resistance +1. And we still can only see space and time. He looked over the transcribed numbers on a piece of paper while I stood at attention. Then he spoke. Soldier, how did you make such significant gains in your magical attributes in 3 weeks? His icy blue eyes focused on me. During our free time after dinner, one of the healing mages has been helping me, Centurion. The Centurion, a very large man, shifted in his chair, which groaned slightly. He pulled out some more paperwork and read it. Do you think you can learn to create a dimensional space, soldier, before you complete the training? He asked sternly. I had absolutely no idea. I did not even know if I was close. I was hoping my ridiculous score in space magic would have helped by now. Yes, sir, I said with confidence, even though it was faked. He nodded and looked at some more papers. Okay, you can work with the healing mage. Is it Damien? I nodded. He's like, oh, always Damien. Work with him in the morning as well as the evening. You can have the second daily conditioning phase off. There are 3 quarters for a soldier with a dimensional space spell form. One is from one of Emperor's sons. He looked at me again and focused on my amulet. Which one? The translation one? I no longer require the amulet, Centurion. I have a basic understanding of Telian. Telian? I answered his question before it was asked. It would have been embarrassing for him to send someone who could not communicate with his Centurion. Damien will keep me updated on your progress. You are dismissed. I left the intimidating gaze of the man. I did not see Damien for the 2 days of weapon testing, but I did much better than I anticipated. I finished 12th in sword training, 15th in sword and shield, 20th with dagger, 9th in hand-to-hand, and 4th in spear. So close to an essence! Although my rankings did not improve much, I thought my level of ability had closed the gap with those I had previously deemed far superior to me. I also had a feeling that the Centurion had tested us with the spear to reward me since it was my best weapon. I still missed out on an essence reward, though. You had to learn flirtatious sayings from Mr. Damien in their sessions. Yes. He's like, I've learned. I know the language. Thank you. Damien still had not returned, and I asked one of the other mages about it. He said the Centurion had sent Damien to retrieve a spell and would be back soon. I immediately guessed it was my dimensional space spell. As training resumed, there were only 43 of us left. I had been so preoccupied with my own problems that I did not notice the cuts from the tablet testing and the combat rankings. We were quickly zeroing in on the desired 30 graduates. Getting the second half of conditioning off did not endear me to my fellow legionnaires. The special treatment meant I had to deal with more aggression from multiple directions during combat training. In the 4 days before Damien returned, I suffered just as many broken bones, punctures, and lacerations as I had in the previous 9 weeks. Damien appeared one night after dinner while I was exercising by myself near the lake. The lake was quiet, and the other soldiers rarely came up there. He waved a pamphlet as he approached. I got the spell, and a more recent copy at that, he said excitedly. We spent the evening going over the spell, and Damien explained things as best he could. I was unable to get the simplified spell form, but we can work from the actual spell instead. The best way to describe a spell was complex geometric math. Oh fuck. The spell forms wrote out the formula, and when you funneled your ether stores into it, you got the result. It meant magic had a massive range based on changing a few variables. During the rest of the interim weeks between testing, we worked on the spell, and I was actually starting to get an understanding of magic. It was an obscure understanding, but at least that was something. My progression was not as good when the testing rolled around compared to my prior efforts. Physical strength +1, power +1, quickness +2, dexterity, endurance the same, constitution and coordination +1, intellect the same, reasoning +2. Perception the same, insight +1, resilience and empathy the same, fortitude +1, ether pool the same, channeling +1, ether shaping, ether tolerance, and ether resistance the same. At our next tutoring session, Damien revealed that my scores put me at 28th in my training group. He told me I had dropped 4 positions from 3 weeks ago. The good news was that the Centurion was very interested in seeing me learn a spatial storage spell form. It would be in line for a reward if he produced a soldier with a dimensional pocket. At the weapons ranking, things went terribly. I was essentially ganged up on as my barracks shared information about my habits and weaknesses. I finished 22nd in sword ranking, 25th in sword and shield, 34th with the dagger, 14th in hand-to-hand, and 11th in dual-wielding. They made no secret of sharing my defiances among themselves. No, not defiances. Deficiencies among themselves. So much for building camaraderie. We only lost 3 between the tablet and weapons rankings, bringing us down to 37. If it was true that only 30 could graduate, then it was going to be pretty brutal to avoid being one of the last 7 cuts. I actually wished I had made an effort to make friends. The problem I had was that everyone was kind of an asshole, and even Helena spurned me with the special treatment I was being given. They were here because they had either committed brutal crimes or wanted to be at the top of the food chain. Or whatever the fuck Helena did. Fortunately, things worked out for me a week after we dropped our numbers to 37. My dimensional space spell form imprinted. Mentally, it was like a series of gears clicking into place with a slight bout of indigestion. I had finally obtained my dimensional space, and it was far more powerful than I imagined. I tested it for the first time, reaching into my ether core and pushing ether through the spell form. A translucent cube appeared. Wow, he's actually doing it. Visible only to me, and oriented to my person. According to the spell description, there was no gravity and no passage of time inside the cube. Even if the space was open, I could actively allow objects to pass through the area without placing objects inside. People would not be aware of the space as only I could see it. That's very handy. It took a lot of mental effort to selectively send objects in the cube's orientation to the dimensional space. It was easier to just send everything in the space and not think about it separating things out. There were negatives. Keeping the open space cost me ether, and I had a minimum amount to spend to access the cube. So my pathetic ether pool attribute of 12 made it somewhat limiting. When I ran out of ether, the space closed no matter what, sharing off the objects not fully inside the cube. I excitedly found Damien. It works! I got my pocket space! Damien's face showed surprise, followed by joy. Hell yeah, kiss. What? How large is the space? He asked. My space was a large cube, 10 feet to each side. I knew he would be impressed, but decided on caution. How big is it? I mean, you will be impressed, but I'm not gonna tell. How big do you think it is? What is a good size? Eric, stop. I prompted a reply. A cubic foot would be exceptional, but 6 cubic inches should be enough to get you a messenger position. He said, anxiously awaiting my response. I bet. Oh my god. I love these two. I paused. The actual spellbook I learned from created a space of about a cubic foot, so my space was about 1,000 times that volume. Wow, I guess it had to do with my space magic stat of 98. If I revealed this, would I end up married to some princess? Or would I end up being enslaved to a king transporting illicit items for him? I decided to go for the middle ground and keep my true talent secret for now. It is just over a cubic foot, maybe 1.5 feet to the side, I revealed. We should go to the Centurion immediately. He will want to hear this, and he will probably test you to confirm that you are saying is true. Oh damn. Damien was bouncing all the way to the manor and kept telling me to hurry up. In front of the Centurion, it was as he said. I was tested to confirm that I did have a space the size I mentioned, roughly 18 inches. The Centurion's smile grew as everything was confirmed with experimentation. I also found out that there are a few important advantages of the imprinted spell form as opposed to casting the dimensional space spell. Because the space was formed as an imprinted spell form and not a spell, it was permanent. If I had used a spell, then my link to the space could have been broken with the spell to dispel magic, or if I had been knocked unconscious. All the contents would have been ejected in that case. Now the only way to access the items in my space was to kill me, thus cancelling the spell form. The Centurion spoke. The Emperor's son's request has already been fulfilled, but the other two requests in the Empire are still open. I will send word of your potential and wait to hear back. Wow. Fuck, we missed the Emperor's son, dude. He would have loved our space. He seemed eager as he started writing the letters. According to Damien, the Centurion was in line for a sizable bonus. He said while writing, "There is great news for you. Once your assignment is approved, you will be promoted to full Legionnaire under the Lion's banner. You will start receiving payments. Of course, we should get you fitted for your Legionnaire's gear. You were probably not told, but your salary will be withheld to pay for the gear. 17 gold in total." My jaw dropped. That was astronomical compared to the 40 silver I owed the farmers. Do not worry, you are gifted a full set of gear on your 5th anniversary, so if your gear is intact, you will get the coin back. You will probably earn more than 5 silver and 40 copper per week, as you will also be a specialist. But that will depend on your assignment. Wow. I did the rough math in my head. That 17 gold was over 310 weeks of pay. Wow. I do not know if I should be angry or not. As we left the Centurion, Damien tried to soothe me. "Don't worry. You're allowed to take loans out against future pay, up to 5 silver a week. The equipment payment is just to let you know that it is owned by the Italian Empire and not yours until you complete 5 years of service." That did make me feel slightly better. Actually, no, it did not. So keep it in good order and don't borrow too heavily. The annual interest is low, but it does add up. He finished by clapping me on the back. Wow. Great. I was in an empire that was aware of how to use compounding interest against you. The next day, during training, the Centurion came out and watched. It was the first time I watched. Not me and Damien. It was the first time he had watched our particular class, and everyone tried to impress him. When my opponent got a head strike on me with his pommel, causing a bloody laceration and concussion, the instructor rushed in and reprimanded him. This left our group stunned. No one had ever been reprimanded for a good, non-lethal strike. It was, of course, because I was now valuable to the Centurion. Damaging his little piggy bank was off limits. 4 days later, Damien found me after breakfast. Word just came down. "You are going to be assigned to Mage Commander Castile." He did not seem too enthused delivering the news. Who is this person? Hello, Saturn. Good evening. Welcome. If you don't know, we are reading a new novel, A Soldier's Life. We are on session 2 and chapter 5. So I hope you enjoy. Wow. Sorry for yawning so much. So what is the problem? I asked, worried by his tone. She is a bit of a problem solver. She takes on the most difficult assignment. Her legionnaires are top tier, but due to their dangerous missions, they frequently need to replace legionnaires. He had a grim look on his face. God fucking damn it. I was assigned to the Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad. We have a new woman. Elena. Bye. Okay. Suicide Squad. I'm intrigued. And I'm really enjoying my time. Chapter 6. The Long Road. I was sized for my Legion armor. The tailor was a bit handsy as he made up a mannequin to match my size. And I'm like, what is this? If you don't want to be bleeding from 100 shave marks, stand still, he warned me repeatedly. Don't you just have pre-made armor? I asked while he checked my chest. Inhale as much air as you can, he ordered. When I did as told, he answered my question. The regular army gets the lesser gear. Men of the Lion get the best. While in your case, as a conscript, the second best. The armor is made of arrock hide and soaked in a boiled resin. I then fit it to your likeness here. He tapped the mannequin with his measuring stick. Of course, if you want to sit in for the mannequin, I am more than willing. No, keep measuring, I grumbled as he checked my inseam for the third time. 3 days later, my armor was delivered. We had practiced in pieces of the armor before, but now I had the complete kit. It reminded me strongly of our Roman legionnaire armor. Besides the rivets, the helm was the only other metal on the armor. We were told in our training that the resin-treated hide was just as hard as metal. The resin also had a red pigment in it. I guess the red was for intimidation. Or just epic style. I decided to try on all the regalia. Our undergarments was closer to a diaper with a drawstring, but it supported the package well. The package! The dark red padded tunic was next, and I felt like I was in a dress and ready for a dance. With Damien, heavy woolen socks, followed by black leather boots, covered my feet. The regular army only had sandals and no socks to boot. I had heavy linen pants that did not need to be worn if the weather was too hot, but the pants helped with the chafing of the buckle-on greaves. The greaves had some padding, but it needed to be replaced regularly. Around the waist was a heavy belt that held up the skirt. The skirt was composed of soft, overlapping leather straps, allowing me to run easily in full kit or ride a horse as well. It also had hardened leather strips to cover the groin, which I was happy about. The buckle-on vambraces only covered the forearm and wrist. In training, our instructors had constantly stressed the vulnerability of the elbow joint and the armpit. The chest piece had overlapping pieces of the red leather resin plates. It looked extremely badass and would have been great if I was not relying on it to save my life. It was actually easier to get on than you would think. I put it on like a shirt and used the cinches to get it comfortably snug. The back was the only solid and inflexible piece on the chest armor. The kit came with a beeswax and mink oil mixture, so it could keep its luster and shine. I wished I had a mirror now that I was fully kitted out. The other members of the barracks just looked on in jealousy. I ignored them. The strong odor of leather and beeswax filled my nose. It was also not uncomfortable, and I would have to thank the armorer. I spent time adjusting the leather strips in the helmet to get a good fit. Truthfully, it felt like I was dressing for cosplay and not about to go out into a world filled with creatures of fantasy and legend. A day later, the Centurion filled me from training. Filled me? Whoa, whoa. Read what you want to read. I'm sorry. A day later, the Centurion pulled me from training. Centurion, please. We've only met like 2 times. I was unceremoniously promoted into the Legion of the Lion 7 weeks ahead of my training class. Damien spent time with me in the morning, reviewing my duties to Mage Castile. You are to be a porter for potions and the unit funds. Since dimensional spaces do not have time progression, you will carry various potions for the mage's company. You will still be expected to fight, but only at the mage's discretion. He smiled weakly. There is good news. I hear each man in the company is allowed to use his preferred weapon. I didn't know it was that type of novel. Please, it always is. Most mages in charge of a unit had everyone wield specific weapons, so they looked uniform and could function in unit formations. Castile apparently wanted each individual as effective as possible, so she allowed men their preferred weapon to fight with. The rest of the news was not good. Mage Castile typically replenished 2 to 3 legionnaires a month, a high fatality rate in my mind. Yeah. My orders came, and I was to make the speed to the western border to connect with Castile's company. I would be traveling with part of our regular army detached headed to a fort located there. I would be the only legionnaire in the group. 2 days later, I was marching alongside 124 men down a dusty road. I was wearing my new leather armor. Soon the polished leather was covered in dust, and my sweat and body odor muted the fresh leather smell. The captain of the army unit moved to walk beside me, and we talked for most of the first day. He informed me we had about a week of marching before reaching our destination. He also freely shared what he knew. The western Bhutan front is the border of our kingdom and Arklands, with the troll swamp lands sandwiched between us. It is not the trolls that require constant subduing, though. It is the marsh goblins and troglodytes. The trolls breed slowly, while the other two races breed prolifically, and surging populations have attacked the border every few months. Captain Lucian lectured me. I asked, why don't we eradicate the source? The young captain shrugged. The land is mostly swamps, making it useless to humans. It also serves as a barrier to the Bhutan orcs. Also, there are many underground marsh settlements. Eliminating them would be dangerous, and we would without a doubt miss some, and they would breed back to a nuisance over time anyway. Every night we made camp, and I set up alone. My legionnaire kit had a small personal tarp tent, a cook set, rations, and a bedroll. All the equipment together with what it is in the backpack weighed about 50 pounds. This didn't include the armor or weapons I was carrying. Walking in the new leather and carrying the backpack had me experiencing new pains and shape marks in places I did not care to discuss. We always camped outside of small towns at the end of the day's march. I wanted to fill up my dimensional space with my kit, but thought it best not to advertise my ability. I was able to eat from the soldier's meal cart and conserve my hard rations. Due to this, after setting up my tent the first night, I moved the 10 pounds of rations into my dimensional space, lightening my pack nicely for tomorrow's 30-mile march. The food was not too bad, some type of sweet cabbage with potatoes and celery. There was minimal seasoning, but it was still filling. None of the soldiers seemed inclined to talk with me, even at meals. I was up and packed at first light every day. Well, before the soldiers. Maybe they don't talk to him because he knows that Centurion, Eric is his. There's no point. Even though they were not carrying backpacks, they were in much rougher shape than me. Complaints flew freely when the officers were out of earshot. I just kept to myself, not wanting to put in the effort to make friends I would never see again. The captain chose to walk with me again on the second day. Wow, Lucian really wants us. And I tried to make conversation by asking him about himself. Captain Lucian was the third son of a career army officer. His father commanded a garrison in one of the larger cities. He was young, and this was his first command. He was going to command the overnight watch at one of the smaller forts on the border. It was an easy assignment, according to Lucian. After 1 year, he would be recalled and promoted. I asked Lucian what he considered a hard assignment. He told me about the active war fronts. There were constant skirmishes with the other human, elven, and orc kingdoms. Defending and expanding those borders was a constant sink of soldiers. I asked him if women were allowed in the army like the Legion. His response was calculated. It had been tried but always failed eventually. The Legion had more discipline and did a much better job of policing themselves. That was all he said on the subject. Well, the days on the road started to blur. I spent my nights alone in my tent. oiled my armor with the beeswax mixture from my kit, and honed my 2 spears and short sword. I practiced what Damien had taught me for other manipulation, wishing I had another spell form to work on. I had enough high affinities to try to manifest a new spell form. My displacement affinity was at 61. The problem was Damien had told me teleportation magic took a lot of ether to use, and my ether pool was among my poorer stats. On the third evening, I started practicing with the spear. I figured it was best not to get too rusty. Captain Lucian came over and practiced with me. He was good from 10 years of experience, but I was still able to hold my own. When we switched to blades, his sword skills far outclassed mine. Thankfully, the captain was open to teaching me, which I appreciated. The soldiers watched us as we practiced, but if they were not ordered to train, they would just rest from the long day's march. After 6 days and nearly 200 miles, the sprawling fields and woodlands transformed into dead wood and foul-smelling stagnant pools. We had reached the edge of the Agorian swamp. We reached a square wooden fort on the morning of the 7th day, but the soldiers I was marching with were going to a larger central fort another 10 miles down the road. That was where my orders had also told me to report. The pace picked up as the destination grew close. The end meant rest to the men. The central fort was massive, with 40-foot high tone. The central fort was massive, with 40-foot high stone walls. Stone walls in a swamp indicated there had been a lot of expense in building this fortification. It was massive inside as well. The bailey was filled with 2-story buildings that were civilian businesses. On the road, Captain Lucian had described the lower part of the fort as having enough variety to keep 1,000 soldiers happy and collect their loose coin. Captain Lucian pointed out a smaller stone building near the citadel on the far side of the bailey. That is your destination, the Legion offices for the fort. Every military fortification has a Legion office, but this region rarely sees members of the Legion, so I am not sure what is inside. Ooh. I walked past the shops slowly before heading up to the earthen ramp to the Legion building. I passed 2 brothels, a general store, 3 taverns, and an inn. The businesses were active with off-duty soldiers. I had no coin, so I moved to meet my new mage commander. The symbol of the Legion of the Lion was on the door. When I entered, a middle-aged woman was in commoner clothes behind a long bar. "Hello, Shane, welcome." Welcome. More reading. A few tables were in the room, and only one table had 2 men in worn and faded Legion leather armor. One graying man pointed at me. "Are you the new porter?" he asked gruffly. I nodded. That described me pretty well. The man stood, knocking his chair to the floor with a thud. Oi. He drained his tankard. "About time. Mage Castile left 2 days ago for Formica, a large mining town nestled south of here in the Iron Spine Mountains. Willie will get the horses ready. We will leave shortly." Still a little in shock at the informality, I was silent. The older man looked at me, evaluating me. He finally said, "Name is Firth. Elena can bring you back to the storage room. Resupply your pack and take anything else you want. Castile is not someone to be kept waiting, so be quick about it." Why do I like Firth? Immediately I'm like, I like him. He's only been rude, but I like him. I did not tell them that I did not know how to ride a horse. I figured I could figure it out on the way. I had gone on a trail ride or 2 as a kid. The woman motioned me to the back room, unlocked a heavy door, and then left me. I went inside and found 2 rows of deep shelves stocked with everything a soldier could possibly want. I turned back, and she was gone. Is this a trap? Could I just take anything I wanted? Would I be charged for the items like my armor? Was there some type of registry? I slowly closed the door and started walking the aisles. One aisle had just foodstuffs, and the other aisle was clothing, gear, and weapons. I did not have much time, and I was told to resupply. That seemed like an open-ended order. Very much. Oh, okay. Chapter 7. Welcome to the Legion. I looked at the door a few times before deciding to go for it. The 40-foot long corridor had 2 wide aisles and deep shelves packed with various items. A lot of them were covered in layers of dust. I grabbed 2 large Legionnaire backpacks and went to the provision aisle first. My dimensional space was immune to the passage of time, but all these items already had a long shelf life. The shelves were neat and orderly as I started filling the 2 packs. I packed 1 sack of peppercorns, 3 bags of sea salt, 5 jars of berry preserves, 6 sacks of flour, 2 large bags of dried mushrooms, 2 large bags of potatoes, a bag of onions, 2 massive... Only 1 bag of onions? Please. Onions. More bags of onions. 2 massive blocks of hard cheese. Only 2. A dozen thick links of hard salami as large as my forearm, wholly. 2 large bags of sugar. And 4 sealed jars that I was fairly certain were yeast. After checking the door, I moved both of the stuffed, all extremely heavy food backpacks to the dimensional space. Then I grabbed 2 more backpacks and went to the clothing aisles. I took the heavy black oiled cloaks used as rain gear, 2 heavy black wool cloaks with soft linens for warmth, 2 heavy wool blankets for horses, 6 pairs of underwear, a dozen pairs of wool socks, 6 light undershirts, 4 linen pants, 6 leather belts, and 2 pairs of boots that were already broken in. I feel like he isn't allowed to take all of this stuff. It's so much stuff. It's like, that's what they said, but it's like, bro, I don't know. Wish I could carry all that around casually, right? That would have been amazing. Eric is taking everything. He's looting the place. I don't want them to be angry with him. I'm a bit panicked about this. But okay. The clothes were bulky and filled the 2 backpacks, so I sent them to my dimensional space after rechecking the door. At the end of the aisle were large 20-gallon casks. Most were marked as water, but a few were marked as rum or whiskey. I wonder which one he will take. I assumed the water. I looked at the doorway again. It was still closed. I shifted 1 rum and 1 whiskey cask into my dimensional space, and then 2 water barrels. I only had enough remaining mana to open my dimensional space 1 more time. I thought it best to conserve it, even though I wanted a lot more in this warehouse. Like, because they will come back and they will be like, bro, why is everything gone? Like, sure, they know that he has a dimensional space, but like, he also didn't want to give away how big it is. Like, I don't know, like, this is a lot of stuff. It's a lot of stuff. I supposed I should actually carry something out as well. I grabbed a satchel and a few more things. A black leather-bound book with linen sheets to use as a ledger, small vials of ink and quills, a bag of apples, and a large bag of candied nuts to snack on. I walked down the weapon aisle, adding some knives for cooking and 2 nice short swords. Then the Legionnaire poked his head in. You ready? The horses are out front. I nodded and hustled to him. Do I need to show what I took? I asked, indicating the room. Nah, not out at a crappy outpost like this. Most of the shit in here is spoils of war. The Legion patrols the trade routes north of here, and stuff just finds its way here. In the larger cities, you need to be more careful. Marta just lets us take whatever when we come through here. Oh damn, okay. Marta, I thought her name was Elena, I asked, walking out with him. Elena and Marta both runs this outpost for the Legion. Marta is a retired Legionnaire. Elena is her daughter. I mean... Hmm, he informed me. I followed him outside, where the other legionnaire was already mounted. The man who had come to get me mounted a horse, leaving me a large red mare. Oh, red? Two large empty saddlebags were draped across the rump. The two soldiers laughed as I tried to mount the horse, still wearing my backpack and satchel, and holding my spears. Finally, the older of the two said, "Willie, help him, or we will never leave." The younger man came off his horse and helped me fill the saddlebags and secure my spears and the three short swords so I could mount the horse. "This is a fine mount, well trained. I see you're not familiar with riding. Firth will not have the patience to wait, so I will do the best I can to teach you as we go." Willie consoled me. Another friend. I was soon uncomfortably in the saddle and trotting out of the fortification. I asked Willie, "I didn't know the Legion rode horses." "Most don't," he replied. "You need to move with the horse, become one with it. Otherwise, you're going to have a miserable ride. You'll get the rhythm of it eventually." He spent the next hour of the ride teaching me how to handle the reins, move with the horse, and guide it with my heels. The horse was definitely well trained. When he thought I looked somewhat capable on the horse, he picked up the earlier conversation. The legionnaires are not large battle fighting units. We are more like guards for the royalty and mages. Our charge is Mage Castile. Willie paused, considering what to say. She has a bit of a chip on her shoulder. She takes on the dirty missions and gets things done. I decided to broach a concern. I heard that the mortality among our legionnaires is high. Willie winced. Yeah, you could say that. There are 26 of us. The veterans have been around for a while, but the new recruits tend to get themselves killed or severely injured. You don't need to worry, though. With your spell form, Castile will keep you out of the more intense encounters. Probably. Probably. I shifted in my saddle, starting to get uncomfortable and finding no way to elevate it. Firth turned to us with a grin I did not like. "Let's teach the boy a light canter." He spurred his horse forward, and Willie shook his head and followed. When I got my horse moving, I bounced around like crazy. I don't like Firth anymore. I could not find the new rhythm. The weapons, although secured, were swinging slightly and tapping my back. When Firth mercifully stopped, my inner thighs were burning and cramping. He motioned for us to get off and walk. I collapsed to the ground, unable to hold myself up as my legs cramped uncontrollably. Firth chuckled, and Willie smirked slightly. "Don't worry, you'll get used to it. Firth isn't the bad sort. That was just over an hour. He will let you walk it out and make you do it again." And we did. Oh, no. What do you mean it's not bad? He will let you walk it out and make you do it again. And we did. First, I fed my mare an apple, from my satchel every time we went walking. Cute. I named her Ginger. I named it! So cute. I named her Ginger after her reddish-brown coat. She seemed to like the name. Ah, did she? Ah, that's adorable. The swamps began to fade into scrub plains, and mountains appeared in the distance. Firth turned and said, "Sorry, recruit, we're going to push to Formica to get there before dark." Willie chuckled. "He must like you." He said sorry. Well, now I'm liking Firth more again. Firth, you're giving me mixed signals. The town was a sprawl of buildings with no walls surrounding it. A large pen of horses was to the edge of town. That was where we went. "Show the recruit how to care for mounts," Firth commanded, with a hint of impatience. He then turned and left for one of the larger buildings. Okay, no, I don't like him. I can't decide. It's more towards no. I feel like he will grow on me. I might like him later. Willie showed me how to unsaddle and groom the horses, as well as where to look for chafe marks to treat with a salve. Once he thought I understood, he patted me on the shoulder, saying, "You got it. Good luck," and left me to it. It took almost an hour to do the 3 mounts. I gave Ginger an apple, which caused all the horses to line up requesting one as well. I had to cut the apples into quarters to get all of them, and I only had 3 apples left when I was done. Holy shit. But he brought a whole fucking sack of apples. Damn, this horse is eating. It was late in the evening, and I guessed I should head for the larger building that Firth and Willie went to. Entering it, I found a large common room where legionnaires were lazing about and drinking. I did not see either of my road companions, so I asked the nearest legionnaire where I could find Mage Castile. He looked me over and pointed to a door in the back. I knocked on the door and a harsh female voice said, "Enter." I opened the door to find a middle-aged woman hunched over a map on the table with 2 legionnaires flanking her. She gave me a She gave me a hard stare. Yes. Legionnaire Eric Marco reporting. Oh, Eric Marco? Interesting, I said, somewhat uncertainly. As my training had been cut short, I had never gone through the protocols or etiquette for someone in the Legion. About time. Delmar, go get the potions. We need a spray bottle. No, don't spray. You have the bonk. That's something. A spray bottle. Wow. One of the men left the room, and the mage paged through some sheets on the table. She finally stopped at one, looked at me, and said, 17 inches. Damn. Oh, see, you found it. There it is. 17 inches. I assumed she was referring to the size of the space. Assumed. That sounded about right. I nodded. She continued. Good. Your most important job is to hold the potions for the unit. They will not lose their efficiency in the dimensional space. Also, you will hold the unit's funds and accounting for unit pay and expenses for Delmar. The man she had called Delmar returned. He placed a small black wooden chest on the counter, opening it and pulling out wooden slotted trays. The potion vials were round, with a large cap. On the cap was a On the cap was a lot of script. I did not have time to examine it before I was ordered to place the 2 trays with 25 potions each into my space. I did so, and after they disappeared, Mage Castile smiled, erasing the aged lines on her face. Excellent. Adrian, get the unit's ledger and chest. The man left once more and returned with a much heavier chest. Eric, add these, she ordered. Much like the potions, the coins were seated in trays, like poker chips. Ooh, fancy. 1 tray was full of large gold coins, and the remaining 5 trays were small silver coins. I did my best to estimate how much a 17-inch cube could hold and not go over that amount. The thin ledger was last, and Castile watched me hawkishly as I added the book. With everything in my space as a tight-fitting cube, I looked up at the smiling mage. Excellent. Now retrieve one of the blue-green potions, she ordered. She held up her hand. Just the 1 potion. I thought about it, and she gave me a hint. Search your dimensional space with your mind. Choose just the item you want to bring out. Highlight it, if you will. I can tell you are opening your entire dimensional space every time you put an item in and out. That is a massive waste if you're stored ether, and you do not have any to waste. Okay, I'm sorry. I was getting a lesson in magic. I only had about 12 ether, and had used 2 ether every time I accessed my space. I only had about 12 ether, and had used 2 ether every time I accessed my space. I did as she asked, and focused on the tray of potions, and then just a single potion. I reached out and willed that one object out of the dimensional space. It appeared in my hands. I smiled brightly, realizing I had done it, and used only a fragment of the ether. Before, it was like I was opening a closet and rooting around it. This was closer to just reaching in and taking the object off a shelf. Much more efficient. Mage Castile smiled as well. Good work. Practice removing and placing potions. In battle, you should not hesitate in pulling the correct potion. Her face turned serious. Delmar here is our logistics officer. You will be held accountable if anything is missing from the unit funds or potions. She pointed to the other officer. This is Adrian. He is responsible for the men's assignments. Come on, kid, Adrian said. Let's get you settled. I was almost 25, so I would not say I was a kid, but I did not argue. He introduced me as the unit's new porter in the large common room. A lot of eyes studied me. I had the unit's money and healing potions, so I was definitely a person of interest. We went upstairs and into one of the rooms. 2 bunks were in there. Oh, the army usually used this building, but Castile kicked them out. Get some rest, we'll leave at first light. Where are we going? I asked. We are looking for a Baron's son in the mountains. His little adventuring group was hunting for a griffin nest, wanted to give his father a griffin egg for his birthday. Instead, we're probably looking for his remains. Oh. Adrian told me truthfully. He smiled. Don't worry. Only one nesting pair was spotted in this region. It's not like we will have to deal with a flock of the buggers. Damn griffins. He left and I picked up my backpack and got my bedroll. The bunks were just planks, no mattresses. I rolled it out and undressed. My thighs were raw from the ride. The muscles knotted. I tried to rub them out and 2 fellows entered the room. Do you need some help? Their things were already on the bunks. Damn, if you need some time alone, we'll be back in half an hour, one of the men said. Yes. The other guy laughed. Half an hour? I bet this one just needs 5 minutes. Damn. These are my 2 new best friends. I'm just trying to loosen my muscles. First time riding. Name is Eric, I said, trying to end the banter. Just joking. I am Mateo and this is Felix. We are to keep an eye on you and help you settle in. Adrian said you were raw and pulled before you finished training. He sat on the hard bunk. Adrian said you were raw. What the fuck? Yes, I was shipped off as soon as I got my dimensional space. I continued to stretch while talking. Too much Shadow Slave as soon as I heard there is no way event will happen. I am not preparing for it to happen, right? Felix spoke next. Well, you got into a fine unit. It has a bad rep due to our high mortality, but that's mostly the new recruits. He put his hand over his mouth like he was saying something secret. Don't worry, Eric. We will keep you safe and sound. They set up their own beds and were soon laying down. I took out the candied nuts and started eating. It was late, and no one offered me a meal. My 2 roommates took liberties, and soon the nuts were gone. We talked about the unit. The best part was the Mage Castile had her own essence collector. She kept all the magical essences for herself, but rewarded the men of the Legion with all the physical ones and sometimes the mental ones. The men were also paid 10 silver a week instead of the normal 5 silver and 40 copper, although Felix seemed to think that was mostly due to Adrian wanting to make his bookkeeping job easier. I ate an apple before falling asleep, wondering what tomorrow would bring. What a beautiful page when it's just this. I ate an apple before falling asleep, wondering what tomorrow would bring. Like this is a poem or something. Looks beautiful. Chapter 8. Boulette for the win. Is it boulette? I don't know what that is. Apples are the new eggs. Apple baskets. An apple before bed. Hmm? No. My god. Felix woke me, and I tried to stand, but my legs would not cooperate. I collapsed to the floor and used my arms to pull myself up. Matteo chuckled at my discomfort. I slowly got my legs working and could feel every raw area of skin from yesterday's ride. This is too much for me. I can't handle this. I can barely stand, please. Felix offered some advice. Use the horse salve on your shave marks. It has a pungent smell, but it works just as well on you as on your horse. I started packing, but Felix stopped me. No need. We're just going along the southern range and looking for signs of the griffins. If we're lucky, someone will spot one flying around and we can track it to its nest. I shambled outside and saddled my horse Ginger, with some help. Setting the girth straps took some skill. Too tight and the horse would get chaffed. Too loose, and you were not going to remain in your saddle. Breakfast was a meaty mashed potato porridge. Only 15 men rode out with Mage Castile. Matteo explained. The others will ride in the other direction, looking for signs. This is our second day searching. The griffins were last seen about 9 days ago, taking a sheep from a farm. From a farmer. From a farmer. What happened to my voice? The griffins were last seen about 9 days ago, taking a sheep from a farmer. I wanted to cry when Mage Castile took her column to a heavy gallop. Oh, my body was being pounded day after day. And had not had time to heal. Yeah, they don't treat you like Damien treats you. I wished I had a healing spell for him instead of the stupid dimensional space. Thankfully, after about 6 miles, the road ended, and Castile slowed her horse to a walk as we remained parallel with the mountains. Now, at a walk, Felix could talk to me again. Damn, Eric. If I didn't know better, I would say an ogre was making you his bitch, judging by the look on your face. He chuckled as a few others heard and laughed at his joke. I responded in a clear voice. I'm sorry. I didn't know you were an expert on the subject. Ooh! Eric! Let's go! Oh, he better like that. He better not be angry. He better be like, hell yeah, you're in. You're one of the bros now. You made a joke. He better laugh. After the men processed, the laugh started raining in, and Mage Castile turned around to see what was so funny. It was Adrian who spoke nearby. The raw recruit just gave Felix the harshest verbal beating of his sad life. She just nodded and focused forward again. It was a good amount of time before things calmed down. We were all looking to the mountains for signs of the griffins. I love this. Another soldier spotted a carcass. We rode toward it and dismounted. 5 legionnaires. A carcass? Of what? 5 legionnaires moved to make a perimeter. I was not sure what to do, so I followed the mage and 4 legionnaires to the carcass. One of the legionnaires knelt close, and I got just close enough to get a whiff. Visually, I could handle the sight, but my olfactory senses were unprepared, and I quickly vomited my breakfast. Apparently, losing my breakfast was not unexpected. The others looked green, but held it down. The kneeling man spoke. 4 days old. Good chance it was one of our griffins. It ate the organs and chewed off a haunch. Haunch? Probably to bring it to the nest. Is it a sheep or something? Did they already say? They didn't say. Probably. I got enough of my faculties back to move upwind, and asked, what the hell was that? I was talking to myself, but the tracker stood and answered me. It was a stone bear. Fairly common around here. Maybe 1,200 pounds. 1,200 pounds? Is that how you say it? Most likely killed by a strike through the spinal cord at the base of the neck from above, he said. I moved close, and he spent time explaining what details led him to deductions. Everyone else had wandered back to their horses, and Castile looked to be considering what direction to head. We were riding on the same path we came from a short time later, and I ate my last 2 apples and gave the course to Ginger. It was midday when our detachment stopped for lunch. Everyone had packed a small lunch except for me. My roommates had told me to leave my gear behind, but I was supposed to pick up a prepared meal from the company's cook. I did not. At least I had my satchel and some apples earlier. Matteo took me to a stand sentry while everyone relaxed, and the horses drank water at a stream coming down from the mountains. Seeing my predicament, Matteo gave me some slices of sausage and cheese from his own lunch. I took a few drafts from his canteen as well. It feels like, I mean, he has a dimensional space full with shit, and then he still, like, of course he can't be like, oh, I have all this. But still. So how long will we search for griffins? I asked as he explained how to maintain the watch and which direction I should be focused on, based on the other sentries' positions. Castile doesn't give up. She's probably using divination magic every few hours. She will find either the griffins or the body of the Baron's son, he said. He suddenly stood and focused on something in the distance. I looked where he was looking. The ground was surging into a mound about a quarter mile away. What is that? I asked softly. Matteo blew a whistle around his neck. I would need a whistle. Everyone looked where Matteo pointed. The mound started moving toward us. A few seconds later, we were rushing to our mounts. Mage Castile was screaming, Boulette! Get on your horses and spread out. Make for Formica. What the fuck is a boulette? I mounted a nervous Ginger and started galloping back the way we came. There. What the hell was a boulette? Right? If it was scaring the mage, then it had to be bad. I did not have anyone to ask. Our group was spread wide apart as per orders. I looked back and the damn thing was getting closer. Good morning, Gilmare. Hello. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. I'm loving A Soldier's Life so far. I looked back and the damn thing was getting closer. Many of my companions were pulling away. All of them were. I was dead last. I urged Ginger to a run, and she complied, sensing the danger coming at us. I tried desperately to find a different riding rhythm at a faster pace. At least my surging adrenaline completely muted the pain. My growing fear made it hard to focus, and I started bouncing out of sync with my mount. Ginger leaped expertly over a large shrubbery. When she landed, I went forward, not ready for the jarring landing. I did not know exactly what happened next, other than I was on the ground rolling, and Ginger continued to race away, now free of her passenger. My first thought was that I had given her all those damn apples, and I thought we were friends. No, Ginger! No! I stumbled to my feet. I was alone. Everyone was at least a quarter mile away or more. I turned to face the mound of earth moving toward me. Something that resembled a shark fin emerged in the center. What the fuck? Was this an elemental earth shark? I pulled my only weapon out of my belt, a short, curved dagger. All my other weapons were secured to Ginger. The ground erupted in a shower of earth and stone, and a massive creature flew through the air, planning to crush me. Time seemed to slow as my death was clearly before me, my muscles paralyzed at the sight. An armored quadruped that looked like a mix between a rhinoceros with the massive head of a snapping turtle soon blotted out the sun. Wait, what the fuck? A mix between a rhino and a snapping turtle. I met my fate by opening my 10-foot dimensional cube, waiting as long as I could, and then shifting as much of the bullet's underside into my dimensional space as possible. The earth thudded around me. I was gonna make a joke like he can put it in his dimensional space, but I was like, it's probably too big. And then he fucking does this. Everything went dark, and I was covered in fluids and knocked to the ground by the force of impact. I was alive, and somehow inside the cavity of the beast. Whoa. The beast seemed uncertain about what had just happened. Its mass twitched around me in the dark, and it tried to move. I had gutted it, though. I was trapped in its hollowed chest cavity, slightly dizzy from the amount of ether I had just used, but the beast no longer had essential organs, like a heart. My dimensional space would not activate, as the cost of pulling in so much bullet flesh had drained my ether. Whether this cost was due to the mass or the creature resisting, I did not know. He has to put this out of his dimensional space quickly. Otherwise, after a short time, I started digging in the earth with my dagger to tunnel my way out. Thankfully, the fluid softened the earth and made it easy to gain my freedom before suffocating. Oh my god, I was gonna say, can he breathe? I squeezed out from under the hard shell, breathing the fresh air deeply, and looked at the armored beast. It was a lot bigger than I remembered. The beast had an armored hide, short stubby legs, and massive black, digging claws. It reminded me more of a tank than anything else. I could see why the mage had decided to retreat. Holy. How will you explain this? I oriented myself to the mountains and started walking back to Formica. When I had recovered enough ether, I dumped the 10 times 10 times 5 feet section of the bullet on the ground. Good. It spread out like a squelching, deflating balloon. I did not think bullet blood was considered a good topical agent for all my raw and bleeding shave marks. I came to a wide stream and decided to wash up. I remained vigilant as I stripped naked and began the process of cleaning everything. I focused on my armor, as I had plenty of clean clothes to change into. I managed to scrub almost everything out of the material. It appeared our uniform was treated with something that had made cleaning blood out of it easy. Treated with something that made cleaning blood out of it easy. This got me thinking about a lot of the clothes I had taken at the fort. They all were well worn, so I guess they had come off dead legionnaires. As long as they were clean now, I could handle the thought of wearing a dead man's clothes. When I finished, I dressed in my damp clothes and armor. The bullet's stomach had occupied the top half of my dimensional space and had not disturbed anything I had placed in the space. It was getting close to sundown as I sat on a rock, wet, tired, bruised, abused, and alive. I took out a ration bar and munched on it, getting prepared to leave when Ginger came trotting up to me and drank unconcerned at the stream next to me. Ginger! I shook my head. Oh, now you show up. Well, I'm out of apples. Ginger! Yay! Chapter 9. Riding Lessons. From who? As I rode back to the mining town, my clothes and armor dried off. The blood acted as a great detergent, and my clothes smelled nice and earthy, though I presumed that not all the fluids that had soaked me were blood. Ginger seemed to be expecting an apple, but the only thing I had that she might enjoy was a jar of berry preserves. Give her a potato. When he paused, I fed her the jam, and her long tongue cleaned the clay jar. It was about 2 quarts of jam, and my horse definitely had a sweet tooth. I did not see anyone from my company as I walked Ginger back to town. When the town came into view, a rider came out to meet me. It was Matteo. Damn, Eric, you're alive? I fished for a response. Yeah, got thrown from my horse and made my way into a river. The ground shark turtle thing didn't look like he could swim. It eventually left me alone, and my trusty mount returned to me. I patted Ginger's neck. Matteo was speechless. He just looked me over and finally said, Mage Castile has called in an earth mage to help. For now, we are fortifying the town. You can rub down your mount, get something to eat, and see Adrian for your defense position. He rode back to the town next to me and continued. The other detachment found the griffins. They are nesting about 20 miles north into the mountains. No sign of Cicero's party yet. We cannot make a move until the bullet is sorted out. Those things are a menace, and it's surprising that this one is so close to the mountains. They usually hunt in the plains or along the border of the desert since the earth is softer, or so Castile says. He admitted. I don't think she's actually fought one before though. They are quite rare. I remained silent as we got closer to the scent of cooked meat, which made my stomach rumble. Matteo pointed out where the townsfolk were setting up and the building where Adrian was organizing the defenses. I rubbed down Ginger and grabbed something I would describe as a thick pita, filled with roasted veggies and thinly sliced meat. Oh, like a pita bread. Ah! I ate as I walked to talk with Adrian. It almost felt like I was a veteran after just one day. Adrian quickly brought me down to earth. Eric, you fell off your horse. Castile would have found your corpse and killed you again for that. Since you are alive, you will not be joining the defense. Instead, go see Horse Master Lucian. He'll train you non-stop until he is satisfied you will not fall off a horse again. The pita stopped halfway to my mouth. He turned and walked smugly to a fortification. I walked the defenses, knowing all this preparation was worthless, as the bullet was dead. But that was not something I was going to tell everyone. I grimaced at the thought of endless riding when I was already walking bow-legged, and my inner thighs burned like a merciless fire. I took the advance of using the horse salve on my raw, partially scabbed skin. Ha ha ha. It felt like putting alcohol on an open wound, and I was sure it would leave a scar. Fuck me. Lucian was not a kind man, at least not to me. Every second of daylight, I was learning to care for Ginger or riding her. My body was never going to heal at this rate. What irked me the most was that Ginger loved all the attention, even though I was suffering. I like Ginger. I even found some apples in town to give her. As Lucian said, a happy horse was an ally. I was starting to gain some semblance of skill at grooming, riding, and farriering. Something horse thing. After 3 days of horse torture, the Earth Mage finally arrived with his apprentice. The man looked like a typical wise wizard with a long white beard and heavy robes. Oh, a Gandalf. I was currently learning how to jump while mounted under Lucian's strict guidance when he arrived. And I was told to take a break. I watched as the wizard rode in on a white stallion, and his young, hooded apprentice had a small black mare. They went right into I'm tired. They went fuck me. They went right in to see Castile. Lucian muttered. Guess we will be leaving in the morning. Rub her down and get some rest. I gratefully rested in my bunk alone and napped for the rain. I gratefully rested in my bunk alone and napped for the remainder of the day. The unit was assembled in the morning. Castile announced, "We are leaving on a dangerous mission. Bullets are a scourge. None of you have fought one before, but they are faster and stronger than should be possible for their size. They can jump 40 feet in the air and crush you in the landing. Their jaws can cut you and your horse in half in a single bite." She let her diatribe sink in. Diatribe? These two earth mages are going to turn the earth to stone and trap the beast. We will not have much time to get spears forced under the armor plates before it breaks free. Be decisive and attack when ordered. I will attempt to blind the monster with darkness and fire. That is the plan. Mount up. Castile swung up to her horse and led the way. She certainly emanated confidence. The earth mages were right behind her. I was ordered forward to ride in the lead element. All the soldiers around me were extremely tense, so I tried to match their nervousness. As we walked, Castile spoke. This is Legionnaire Eric. He escaped the bullet by going into a river. He said the bullet would not follow him in. The white-haired mage's eyes went up. True, the beasts do not swim, but they do not fear water. Like rock turtles, they just walk on the bottom due to their density. Had I just been caught in a lie? I tried to roll with it while not telling a lie, as I knew some mages had spells to detect lies. I can just tell you about my experience. The beast emerged from underground. Before I realized it, I was soaked. It left me alone after that. The old mage seemed to contemplate my words and just nodded slowly. Mage Castile made instructions. This is High Mage Dacian. Dacian? He is one of the Empire's most powerful Earth mages, if not the most powerful. He was just telling me this was his 6th bullet hunt. Great. I had an expert on bullets dissecting my story. I bowed my head slightly toward him, but did not change my story. Lucian came up from behind, saving me from further scrutiny. Eric, I want you to practice sprints with your mount over the uneven terrain. I gave the middle-aged man an exasperated look, but turned to do so. I think he took pleasure in administering drills that hurt my body, although today I did not feel quite so beaten, as my body was recovering quicker. The procession made a steady walk with everyone tense and on the lookout for the bullet. At this pace, I was not even sure if we would reach where I left the carcass. After Ginger built a light lather, Lucian had me stop my sprinting practice. Adrian came up next to me. Eric, Horsemaster Lucian said you were doing a fine job. Mage Castile has decided you are to remain under his tutelage for the foreseeable future. I let out an audible groan. Lucian reached over and patted my back. Do not worry, Adrian said. Once Lucian has trained your horsemanship to a suitable level, you will just be helping him take care of the mounts. Do I at least get a pay increase? I asked, but it was just banter. This Legion unit seemed much more informal than I was expecting. It was more like a group of mercenaries. Sure, if Lucian dies and you take over the role of horsemaster for the unit, you make as much as a second already, Adrian stated. A second was like a lieutenant, directly under Mage Castile in the command structure. Adrian and Delmar were the unit's seconds. How much does a second make? I asked, having never actually been told how much my pay was as a magic backpack. Castile pays her men 10 silver a week. If you have been with her for 5 years or more, it is more. The company's magical porter earns 10 as well. The horse master, arms master, and armor master make an additional 1 silver a week. Adrian spoke conversationally. He then added, Castile is generous, Eric. You will have the opportunity to be rewarded for your exceptional service. He rode away. Bye. Bye, Adrian. My roommates had already told me about the essence bonus. As it was getting close to dusk, we finally spotted the corpse of the bullet. We all spread out at half a mile, but soon High Mage Dacian ended the prep and rode forward. The unit followed. Basketball-sized beetles were swarming the bullet. High Mage Dacian swore, "Pig fucking marrow beetles." It's more fun since I'm imagining like Gandalf saying it. Pig fucking marrow beetles. They will have ruined the carapace. It also looks dazed dead. No chance of an essence. By the way, carapace mentioned. Fucking kill me. He looked pointedly at Mage Castile. Castile asked the older mage, what could have killed it? She ignored the high mage's anger and scanned the skies. Definitely not a griffin. Dragon, maybe? Dacian calmed quickly, realizing perhaps another apex predator was around. He said, the dragon should all be in the southern reaches as it is a mating season. No, whatever killed this bullet probably surprised it. Besides the bite marks in the shell from the beetles, I do not see any damage. He walked around the corpse, sending earth spikes through the beetles and clearing the outer shell. Rip beetles. After 2 circles, he spoke again. At least the claws will be salvageable. Castile dismounted. I apologize for dragging you out here for nothing, High Mage. He waved her off. It happens. It was not a false alarm either. Castile offered. Since you were unable to get an essence from the bullet, maybe you want to join the griffin hunt. The old mage looked up, perplexed. No, I do not think an old earth mage would be of much help. He looked at his apprentice. Apprentice Renna, go with Mage Castile. Try to learn something about running a detachment of soldiers. Wow. All eyes turned to the cloaked young woman. She pulled down her hood to show shoulder-length red hair and crystal blue eyes. Egg basket. She might have been attractive, except for the scowl and her paleness. She did not protest. Oh, what the fuck's wrong with pale? Now. Yes, High Mage Dacian. I had flashes of a Padawan talking to her Jedi master. Dacian turned to Castile. I am traveling back to Vervao. Send her there when you are done with the Griffins. She has potential, so make sure nothing happens to her. Once she is trained, the Emperor has plans for her. She has extremely strong affinities for all four of the elements. Dacian mounted and rode away, just like that. I remembered the story of the peasant girl with high affinities in all the elements. I guessed this might be the girl. Oh! As she looked to be in her mid-teens. But that had been a few months ago. Oh, mid-teens. Oh, she's young. How much could she have learned in such a short time? She did not look happy being left behind. Castile turned to the unit and eyed all of us. She pointed. Felix, Mateo, the girl is your responsibility. Felix rolled his eyes and surprisingly talked back to Mage Castile. I thought we were watching the Raw recruit. Castile's eyes narrowed. You can watch both pups. Do a better job. That one almost got himself killed. She pointed at me. It seemed that discipline was relatively lax in the company. We spent 4 hours freeing the claws meant to be sent to High Mage Dacian in Varveo City. Then we all returned to Formica. A very perturbed, red-haired young woman now occupied the open bunk in our room. Oh wow, she sleeps with them as well. Bro is around big sweaty tan men all day. He has different tastes. Yes, you're correct. My bad. Oh, damn, fair enough. Right. Once again, like, I'm really enjoying this. I think this is super fun. I'm having a great time. And the story is good as well. I'm interested. And the people, I love the people, the characters. And that's so important to me. Just like when we read Shadow Slave. Like, the people. So I'm looking forward to see what more we're gonna do. Like, how long is he gonna keep his magic hidden? Is he gonna succeed with keeping it hidden? But I love where the story is going. Love the characters. Having a great time. Very fun. Looking forward to next time. That was awesome. Time to get that fucking cat. Yeah, fuck it. We can vibe. We vibe. Fuck, we ball, right? We fucking ballin'. We ballin'. Right. Oh, and we have 2 people joining the Discord. Thank you. Shadow Isaac and Fee Otter. Cute. I slumber now. Go slumber. Enjoy your slumber. My phone is dying. That's not good. I have to charge it. But we will do some shiny hunting. So I will fix everything. Last night, I can't remember what happened. Here we go. I woke up. Fuck. No. Shit. Bitch. I changed the wrong background. There. Whew. I think something fell off my washing machine. I just heard a big. Maybe you could even hear it. I'm gonna go check that very soon. I feel my head still spinning, but I'm doing alright. Cause I think I just had the best night of my life from last night. Can you remember what happened? First we will set up the stream. From last night, can't remember what happened. Here we go. I woke up this morning. Where's my car? Where's my keys? Where's my clothes? I think my head's still spinning, but I'm doing alright. Cause I think I just had the best night of my life from last night. Okay. Then we will have to say bye bye to the YouTube chat since music, you know. Wait, why doesn't. Huh! Why doesn't my tags go to Twitch? Sorry, excuse me. Now it did. Okay, great. Okay, restarting the stream. Going, pissing, checking if it was something that fell off my washing machine, and we'll be right back so you can just refresh the stream. Bye, YouTube chat, though. Thank you so much for coming. Refreshing stream now.